Good morning, FlossTube. My name is Leann, and I am leann.stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram. And today is Saturday, March 20th, and this is my 10th FlossTube. If you're not familiar, FlossTube is the little corner of YouTube that talks mostly about cross stitch and a little bit about other crafts. So if that's something that interests you, I invite you to grab a drink and some stitching and to sit for a minute. It's been about 3 weeks since I filmed my last FlossTube. I got in a really good groove there where I was filming every Saturday morning, and I was getting, more comfortable with the filming and with the talking in the camera to myself. And then spring hit. And I know that today is the official first day of spring, but if you go by, I believe it's called the meteorological, that is a hard word to say, meteorological spring. It basically says that March starts spring of the weather, where the temperatures. Anyway, my husband bought me a greenhouse for Christmas, just a little one from Tractor Supply. Not Tractor Supply, but a store like Tractor Supply. Anyway, it was finally warm enough and not raining for us to get out there and put it up. And it took a little longer than we expected. So we spent an entire weekend getting that up. And then the following weekend, I went shopping for plants. So, that took a bit of time too. We found out that with the week of snow and freezing temperatures, basically all of our landscaping died. And we didn't have a whole lot. We built this house not quite 3 years ago. And we were living in California and building here in Tennessee. And so we didn't really have a lot of control over the building process. And so when it came to landscaping, they just honestly, it looked like they just put in whatever was on the back of their truck that was left over from something else. It was very haphazard. And so we had been wanting to redo our landscaping anyway. And now we've kind of been forced into it by the fact that everything is dead. I think some daylilies survived, and that's really about it. All of our shrubs, our rose bushes, everything is just gone. So I went out with a friend last weekend and to buy some stuff to replace it, and also to buy some more fruit trees for my little mini orchard that I have going on. And I bought some strawberry plants and all of that. So they're all sitting in the greenhouse right now waiting for the beds to be ready. We have some college kids who have a landscaping business on the side. They are working on pulling everything out for us and tilling the ground and putting mulch down and everything. And then we're going to go plant all that. So that's what I've been up to the last 2 weeks. There honestly hasn't been a ton of stitching going on. The other thing that has been happening is some friends of mine and I decided to start going to the gym at our church at 5 in the morning because when you work full-time or you're a full-time mom with kids who need to get ready for school or whatever, 5 in the morning is really about the only time you have. So since my stitching time is usually late at night after my kids go to bed, I've been trying to go to bed earlier so I can wake up at 4:30 and therefore not a lot of stitching time. Anyway, there's my life story as of the last few weeks. So how about we talk about the stitching that I did do instead of all the things I did instead of stitching. I only have about 5 pieces to show you. I've really been focusing on the long stitch goals, the bigger stitch goals for the Full Coverage Fanatics March history sprints. And if you remember from a few videos back, if you've been watching for a little while, I was super excited about this month and all of the different events. Basically, the March history sprints, if you're not familiar, is the moderators of the Full Coverage Fanatics group on Facebook, which I have a link to down below. They came up with a list of 20 events that happened throughout history in the month of March. And the way the event works is you have 3 options for stitching. You can either choose any project that you have going or a new start, and you can stitch the same amount of stitches that correlate to the year in which the event happens. So for example, the first event is the Salem witch trials, happened on March 1st, 1692. Or I guess they started on March 1st, 1692. So you can pick any project and stitch 1,692 stitches. Or you can pick a project that relates to the event in some way. So something with a witch on it, or I'm not sure what the rest of the guidance was for that, but basically anything that relates to the Salem witch trials. And you can just stitch whatever amount you want on that, no counting, just working on that project. Or if you're crazy like me, you pick something that relates to the event and you stitch the number of stitches in the year. So for Salem witch trials, I chose Wizard of Oz because Wizard of Oz has a witch in it, and I wanted to stitch 1,692 stitches on it. So I went through, I think we were on the road somewhere, we were in the car somewhere, and I went through the entire list of 20 events and I matched every single one up to one of my full coverage projects. And I was ready to go, but it was only February. So in the course of waiting those 3 or 4 weeks for March to happen so that I could actually start stitching, all of this other stuff happened and I ended up not having as much stitching time as I wanted. So I was really bummed, but that's where I've really been focusing most of my work on. I'm still doing magical stitches homework, but I've really only been doing the penalty stitches, and I'll go into that in a minute, but I really haven't been doing much enchanted stitching lately. Honestly, I've really been struggling with all of the different groups that I'm in. The first month, it was easy. I did great. February, I kind of slowed down a little bit. And this month, I feel like everything has come to a grinding halt. And I am literally just focusing on magical stitches and full coverage fanatics, which is fine. That's how the stitching groups work. A lot of people belong to several of them and, you know, come in and out as they're motivated or as they're interested or as they're able. So I'm trying not to guilt myself too much about the fact that I've kind of fallen away from a lot of them right now. I figure there's still 9 months left in the year and I'll get back to them. So stitching. The first piece I have to show you, like always, is Marvel Superheroes. And I have worked a lot on this piece. This I got on Etsy from Popular Cross Stitch. And the artwork is, I believe, after Civil War or related to Civil War, as far as who the characters are. But this is a gift for my husband. We are big Marvel people. He is especially a big Marvel person. So this is where I'm at. And the last time I showed it to you guys, I don't even think I had finished this page. So I finished this page, which is the bottom corner of Hulk. And then I started on this partial page. And I'm actually pretty impressed with myself with how much I've gotten done. I've really been focusing on working on it as many weeknights as possible, even if I only put in 20 confetti stitches, just trying to work on it every night and then every Saturday. With everything that we've been doing on the weekends, I really have only been able to work on it at night, just like any other weeknight. But I think it's going pretty good. I'm knocking a lot of progress out. This right here, I believe is Venom. I don't think that's actually Spider-Man. I think that's Venom. I don't remember who that is. My husband told me, but it's really exciting to see it come through. This right here has been a ton of confetti because this is this dude's shoulder. And then there's been a lot of confetti. There was a lot of confetti in his cape, if you can see. So it's been very slow going, and I've just been focusing a lot of time on it. I have put in the last 3 weeks, 1,600 stitches, which now that I say that, doesn't feel like that much because I was really trying to get 1,000 stitches per week. So it doesn't sound like a lot when I say it out loud, but I know that I have been spending so much time on this. So I have about 700 stitches left in this page. And so my goal today, if I can, is to try to finish that page at least by next weekend. So I can start on the second row because I'm really excited to get started on that. The bottom down here is a lot of black. or $9.39, not black. And then it's Hulk's shoulder. And Hulk is always really fast stitching because it's like 4 or 5 colors of green and they tend to go down in long stripes. So I'm hoping that once I get through this confetti up here, the bottom will be pretty easy to stitch. So yeah, anyway. The second piece that I worked on is my other focus piece for the year, Beauty and the Beast. And my goal is to finish this and have it framed by my daughter's 5th birthday in June, at the end of June. So what I've been doing is in Magical Stitches for the homework, which the homework is usually about 1,000 stitches per week. And the penalty stitch option is to stitch those same 1,000 stitches, but you have to do it on your oldest whip. And so this is my oldest whip. And so I've just basically been doing the 1,000 stitches every week on this. And then that's when I stop working on it. And here's where I'm at. I am almost done with this partial page over here. I just have to finish outlining Cogsworth down there. And then I have to take this black line all the way down. And I worked on it last night and I estimated really roughly that I have about 200 stitches to go on this page. And that puts me at 6 of 8 pages down. And I also calculated that if I continue doing the 1,000 stitches a week for Magical Stitches, I have 8,400 stitches left. So that puts me for a mid-May finish, which gives me a whole month to have it framed and ready to go for my daughter's birthday. So I'm super excited and that's really motivating for me to keep going on that. Plus I like it because it's a pretty quick stitch. It's a lot of block stitching. And then once I get all the colors stitched in, doing the black outline is super fast. So the fact that I am trying to go to bed earlier and all of that, it has been really productive stitching during the week. The next project that I worked on is Wizard of Oz. And this is by Heaven and Earth Designs. And the artwork is by Scott Gustafson. I have been using this for another March History Sprint. I forgot to say, on Marvel, I'm almost done with the history sprint that goes to. And with Beauty and the Beast, I've done 2,800 stitches in the last 3 weeks, and that has given me 2 March History Sprints. One was Queen Victoria narrowly escapes assassination on March 2nd, 1882. So I did 1,882 stitches. And I believe it fits because it's related to royalty. And then the second one was Romeo and Juliet's Wedding Day, March 11th, 1302. And then it's, you know, related to romance or couples or a wedding or something like that. And that was 1,302 stitches. So I knocked out 2 events using Beauty and the Beast, which was super exciting when I calculated everything this morning. So Wizard of Oz, I am using this for, I already said the Salem Witch Trials. And so my goal is to get 1,602 stitches done. And so far I have put in 800 stitches. And I'm just doing, I talked about it in the last video or the video before, where I'm just picking one of these empty squares up here, picking that symbol and just following it down until I finish a thread length. And it's really been helping me get some details in. I worked a lot in here on these little horseshoes. I got a lot done in there. And I'm just kind of seeing where it takes me. I'm really enjoying watching it fill in instead of just doing random color, instead of picking a color that has a lot of stitches and it taking me all over the place and everything looking like a blob, which I'll talk about when I talk about another project. It's really giving me details and I can see the picture emerging, and so it's really fun. The fourth project I worked on is Dark Voyager. And this is a piece of artwork that I found online, or my son found online. And this is a character, according to him, I know nothing, is a character in Fortnite. And so what I did was I put this artwork through Stitch Fiddle. and I made a couple of adjustments and charted it. And my goal is to finish this for him next year. So let me see. This is where I'm at. I'm just working in the top right-hand corner, and I put in 700 stitches into this, and I've just been working this blue. I worked it all the way down, and then I worked this all the way down. And so, yeah, I think obviously I made it to there in the blue. And I'm just kind of trying to make my way across until I can stitch on the astronaut, or the dark Voyager, if you will. So I'm using that piece again for March History Sprints. The first sighting of the Orion Nebula happened on March 4th, 1774. So my goal is to put 1,774 stitches in that piece this month. I have a pretty big goal on that piece this year as well, because I am trying to finish it, I think, next year. So it's good. I really haven't picked it up all year until now, because I've been focusing on finishing Beauty and the Beast. So it's kind of been exciting for me to finally pick it up and start working on it, because I know I've been wanting to for a while. The fourth piece I worked on the past few weeks is Once Upon a Fairy Tale. The artwork's by Amy Stewart. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I actually got quite obsessed with this piece. I worked on it aside from, you know, my daily stitches on Marvel and my homework on Beauty and the Beast. I worked on this piece for almost 2 weeks straight, every night. And the reason why I got so obsessed with it was because I belong to several groups. I belong to like an Amy Stewart Haid group, and I belong to the Haid group, or Haid stands for Heaven and Earth Designs. And I just keep seeing people posting this same chart and their progress, and there are just so many details that I don't have. And so I became super obsessed with this project and stitching those details in so that I could see them instead of it just looking like a big gray blob. And I'm getting there. I stitched 1,900 stitches on this total. And you can see there's a tree limb starting to come out here. This is basically a castle, and that's like kind of like a window, and that's a lamppost. And this gray blob right there will be an owl. You can kind of, now that I'm looking at it in the camera, you can kind of start to see it. That looks like it might be his face, and there's his wing and his body. But when I was looking at it, when I was stitching, I just couldn't see any of it. And then over here is the spine of a book, and this is the start of another book. So I feel like after 1,900 stitches, I finally am starting to see some details pop. And that doesn't mean that I only have 1,900 stitches in on the project. Obviously, I have more than that. I've actually done 3,500 stitches on this project this year, and my goal was only 5,000. So I think if it keeps going the way it's going, then I'm going to get a lot more than my goal done, because I'm really loving it. And like I said, obsessed with trying to get those details to pop. And those Haid Facebook groups are very inspiring when I see other people's projects. And it doesn't even have to be the Once Upon a Fairy Tale. Anytime I see any of Amy Stewart's bookshelf pieces that someone is stitching, it makes me want to work on that project. And I find that psychologically fascinating. I don't know. I guess I'm just weird. So that was actually the fifth piece. I know I said that was the fourth piece, but that was the fifth piece I've worked on in the last 3 weeks. And that's it. Like, I can't believe I have been working only on 5 pieces for 3 weeks. It's very unlike me. Normally I switch around a lot, and I put in 500 stitches there and 500 stitches there. And yeah, and that's, I can't remember if I said this in the beginning, but that's another reason why I really haven't made the time to make a video, is because I've been working on the same pieces and really didn't feel like I had that much to show. Plans for this week. I obviously want to keep going on the history sprints. I feel like I've only completed 3 of them so far, with 2 or 3 more in progress. And so I want to finish those ones that I've done, and I want to start on a new one. So my plan for today is Marvel Superheroes, because today is Superhero Saturday Sal, which Sal stands for Stitch Along. So it's where I work on Marvel superheroes, and I invite you to work on any pieces that you have going that are superhero related, and post it on Instagram using the hashtag #SuperheroSaturdaySal. And I'll put that down below. I don't think I've done that to date, but I'll put the hashtag down below so that you can use it. I would love to see what you're working on. So that's today. I don't know how much I'm going to get done today. I have 280 stitches left until I finish this first sprint, and it is Happy Birthday to You was first published on March 4th, 1924. So since this piece is a gift for my husband, it fits into that category, and I wanted to do 1,924 stitches, and I have 280 stitches left. And so we have plans this afternoon. We're doing a taco night with some of our friends and board games. So I don't know how much I'm actually going to get to work on it, but I should be able to do 280 stitches. Fingers crossed. I might cheat a little bit and go down to that block stitching down at the bottom just so I can get it in and finish out that that sprint. And then I think I have another one for this. Oh, maybe not. So yeah, that would be the only sprint I have for this, but obviously as my focus piece, I will keep working on it. After that, tomorrow, my plan is to work on Wizard of Oz. I have 891 stitches left till I finish that sprint. And it's been known to happen on a Sunday for me to get that much stitching done. And we'll see. It depends on the weather and if I decide to go work in the garden or if I just decide to be lazy and stitch all day. The next piece that I want to work on after that is Dark Voyager. And I have 1,090 stitches left on that sprint, but that is super fast stitching, so I really think I can get that done this week. Beauty and the Beast, I'm going to keep working on that and do my 1,000 homework stitches. And then the fifth piece that I really want to start working on this week is God Shed His Grace by the Cross Stitch Studio. Oh. That's not one you want to mess up. And my goal on this for this year, I think, is about 25,000 stitches. It's a very large piece. It is 869 by 583. It's over 500,000 stitches. It might even be close to 600,000 stitches. And when I showed it to my husband, he thought it would look really good above our sofa. We have a huge wall. It's on the back side of our staircase that goes up to the second floor. And it has been sitting empty for 3 years. Waiting for the right piece. My husband really felt like he didn't want to just put anything up there. He wanted something that was locally done or something that meant something to us, because it would literally be the focus piece of our living room. And so I showed this to him and he really liked it. So my goal is to get 25,000 stitches done on this year, since I have other focuses, and then probably make it more of a focus in the years going forward. That's all I've got done right now. It's the bottom right-hand corner. Up here is where you start getting into that little pond. And so far I've only put 2 colors in on this. I've put a lot of black and then some very dark green. And I've kind of just been working my way that way with the dark green right now. But I would love to get into stitching some of that pond if I can. I haven't kitted this at all. That's why I started with the 310, because I have that cone sitting right there that my daughter turned into a paper flower vase. So since I have a lot of 310, that's why I've worked on it the way I have. But I do need to make it to the craft store, or I just found out that there is a quilting store nearby that also carries DMC. If you can see, the other thing on my nightstand right there is my list of DMC colors that I need. I think those are my Once Upon a Fairy Tale ones. I know there's 2 big ones that I need for my Reader's Paradise. And so I'm also going to add a couple from this on that on that bottom page. I'm going to add a couple colors in from that so I can make some progress on that. That's really what's been hindering me from trying to work it in anywhere. So this is a good excuse to go try and find it. That's really it. I don't really have anything new that I purchased. I did purchase, actually, Let me get my tablet. I haven't printed it out yet because my girls used all our computer paper for artwork projects. And so I can't print. But I did purchase the limited edition Haid chart for this month. And I don't know why. It's not something that is normal for me to stitch unless it is for one of my daughters. But I just saw it and I'll show you what I mean. This dress that she's wearing, I don't know if the glare is too much on that, but this dress that she's wearing that's all sparkly, I just kind of felt like I had to stitch that. And if you've been watching me for a little bit, you know that I'm a process stitcher, not necessarily a finished object stitcher. So I kind of feel like that's why I purchased it, because I just want to stitch that dress. And I thought at first that because it's so sparkly, I don't know if the sparkles came through on the video, but I thought because it was so sparkly, maybe there was some Krynic in there or something, but there's not. It's just all DMC colors, which makes me want to stitch it even more. But as we know, I'm doing No New Starts 2021, and I have 50,000 full coverage pieces, large full coverage pieces in progress already. So I don't see myself starting it anytime soon, but because it's limited edition, I wanted to go ahead and get it. And that's it. I did also get, I do subscribe to the, my mind just went blank. I do subscribe to the Black Needle Society boxes. So I did get my on-the-go stitching box this week, but I left it at work, so I can't show you anything out of it. But there are several unboxing videos already happening on FlossTube. I know Michelle Bendy has already done one. So she did a really good unboxing video, actually. So you can see everything that's in that. In her video, the pattern, the ink circles pattern that's in it is just gorgeous, and I want to stitch it so badly. So that's going into my 2022 queue, and hope I finish enough this year that I feel comfortable starting something new, because it's a smaller piece, so it wouldn't take too long, and it's monochromatic, so it's a good travel piece. So I guess there is a little bit of haul, just not much for me to show you. That's really about it. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you have a good week next year. I hope that the weather is treating you well. We went from 8 to 10 inches of snow to beautiful spring 70s and 80s and everything blooming, to horrible thunderstorms on Wednesday with we were supposed to get tornadoes, but thankfully we didn't. We usually get spared by the Mississippi River because we're so close to it, but the wind was insane, and we had a lot of scares at work with, at one point there was water coming in from the roof, and it was just this steady stream that was hitting the ceiling tiles right above where I keep all my undyed yarn. And I was freaking out a little bit because nobody can come fix it when it's pouring down rain and windy and possible tornadoes. So I was sure that we were going to have a disaster on our hands, or I was going to have a disaster on my hands. And I got spared. All of a sudden, I was furiously typing a message to my landlord saying, I got a problem. I need someone to come fix this ASAP tomorrow. And then it just stopped. So I'm super thankful for that. But we did have, when the rain comes in sideways, it came in through the doors and windows. And so we had quite a bit of wet carpet and flooding that way. So that was interesting, going from snow to sun and beautiful spring temperatures to crazy thunderstorms and tornadoes. And now we're back to beautiful weather this weekend, and then we'll be back to rain next week. And such goes spring, I guess. I don't know. I'm a California girl, a Southern California girl. I'm not used to this weather stuff. I'm used to sun and clear skies. So, yeah. So I hope you guys are having good weather and are getting to go outside and do some stuff and enjoy the outdoors, but also get some stitching in. And as always, whatever you get to do this week, whether it's raining or sunny, I hope that you lead with love. Bye.